Hello, welcome back to the Fashion Lab with Jenny. As you can see, I've gone away and I've finished drawing all of my outline that I want, and if I turn it off you can see we've got our lovely outline. My name's Jenny and not Michelle Pike, but because this was her original illustration I don't feel right unless I have her name on it as she has signed her previous work. I think that's the right thing to do. Okay, so now we've done this, the next thing that we need to do is we need to look at colour, and we need to consider the colours that we're going to be working with, and then we can start rendering it and trying different techniques. So the next layer, I'm going to create the next layer. As you can see down here on the previous one over here, the next one I've got is colour and swatches. I'm going to create a new layer. Here we go, there we go. So this one will be colour and swatches. Oops, I knew I accidentally hit swatches. So what we want to do is you may need to place another piece of this art on the board or something like that so that you can colour pick out the colours, because if you colour pick out right now you can get washed out. So what I like to do now is I like to get a rectangle and then curve the edges, give it only a fill colour. If you give it an outline colour, particularly something like black, it will make the colour inside seem a little bit muddier. So it's always best just to stick to a fill colour. I'm going to get my eyedropper. I'm just going to come over here. And I tend to start with the darker colour and work left to right. So let's just say I've got brown here. And then I'm going to create a second one. And this is by holding my Alt. That will create a second one. And then Shift will keep it constrained. So we'll keep it in a straight line. Once I've dragged one, I could go hold the control down and then tap D, tap D, tap D, which means transform again. And so I can do this. So then I come to the next colour and I go, okay, what's the next colour in this? Maybe it's the orange. And maybe we want a really nice sort of dark red. That looks like pink, not red. Sometimes you just have to zoom in, try and get in there. That's still not quite red enough, but anyway, we'll go with this for now, and then we'll try and get a sort of more of the pinker colour, and then we'll come over here and we'll go to the bright yellow, or actually we want the darker colour first. You tend to work like you read, you try and get your dark colours and you sort of go left to right, and then we need a blue, and that will do for now. Okay, also at this stage you may want to create, like I've created a lace over here, you might want to create something like that. So I've got my colours here, and that's good. But now before we go any further, we need to make sure that these colours are working to a standard fashion practice. And the first thing we want to do is we want to select these colour chips that we've created. We want to come up to our colour wheel, but before we do that I'll just open up my swatches so you can see they're not there, but we come up to our colour wheel and recolor, and the great thing that this has in it is that if we come down to our swatches here, see how that icon looks very much like the swatches icon. We come down to here, we can come into our colour books, and now on my computer I have the Fashion and Homewares Textile Cotton Colours TCX, and so I would choose this. But if this is going to be a poster and you're sending it away to be printed, it's going to be print colour, so you may want to come down to something like solid coated. Uncoated means matte, coated tends to be shiny. Okay, I'm going to go with my TCX just because we tend to use these colours a lot. And what this will do, it will convert these colours into Pantone colours, TCX colours. It will choose the closest colour available. So you can see up here now, if I was to open up this and I click on one of these, you can see it's allocated the closest Pantone. So we're working with nice clean colours. This would be great because now it doesn't matter if the colour that I'm seeing on my screen is different to yours and it's different to how it will print out. I could open up a Pantone TCX colour fan and I will know exactly what it's going to print out like if I send it away to the printers with the Pantone. So it's a really good starting point to do this. Also, after we've got this, we want to make sure that the colours are available for us, so we're going to make sure that we come over to our swatches and we're going to go to the menu, which is those little lines, new color group, and we're going to go illustration. There we go. So now we've got those colors in there in the file, so that's brilliant. It's all ready to go. So now we can come back over to our layers. Where's our layers? There we are. And now this layer can be locked because that one's all done, and we can then go to the next layer. And this one is going to be, I'm going to do the blob brush and bristle brush. So I'm going to do this as my garment fill. Okay. So now that we've got this all set up and we're ready to go, I'm going to switch off some of these other ones over here. And I can see what's behind us here, and I can turn it off if I want, but it will give me a guide. So I've got my orange loaded over here in our fill color, and I'm going to come down to the brush, and underneath the brush, which is big for brush, we've got the blob brush, and the blob brush is a really great tool. And because we've set this up so I've got the garment fill under our line, whenever I draw something here, if it goes over the line, it's not going to obscure our beautiful clean black line. So we're going to stay here, and we're going to lock that one as well, just so that we stay in the line. As you can see, this brush has got a very large size. So what we want to do is go to our keyboard and look for the brackets. They're over just near the backspace, but we're going to call those brackets, oops, I didn't want to colour that yet. The brackets, we're going to call them parentheses, just because most tutorials will refer to that. And if you hit the left bracket or the left parentheses, it will make your brush size smaller. And you're better off with your brush being a little smaller than larger. So if I go to the right, it makes it larger. You're better off with it being smaller and zooming in and just deciding how you want to do it. And you can go, okay, I've done that bit, now I just want to get smaller again. And this will draw this brush as a filled shape. So you may just want to go. And let's just say there's some parts of it you'd think, yeah, I like that, but it went over in some areas. You might go, well, this bit went over. I'm happy with that because I want a sense of spontaneity in it, but maybe I want that to curve off. But this comes up too high. I really would like it to sort of sit somewhere around there. And perhaps I want this to come around to the bottom a little bit more. I like that being left out. So to do that, what I'm doing is I'm starting on the line, going the one direction, and then I finish on the line, and that gives us that great shape. Now I've got that drawn, I might want to come up to my yellow, and oops, don't want to do that first, click off there, come up, eyedropper, click on that, back to my selection tool, and I'm going to go to my blob brush, and I'm going to colour fill part of her top. Once again, if I need to, I can make my brush a lot smaller and just come in and do that, and maybe a little bit bigger here. Now I think one of the things to creating spontaneity is to make sure that you don't colour absolutely everything in. Sometimes some things are better left a little undone, and we're not drawing over this side, so we might just draw a little bit of a colour swatch blob here, and then maybe a little bit of colour to this here, just to get this. There we go. So we're already starting to get a nice feel on this. And we could go on and we'll do other things. But at least you can see where this is starting. Now the next area I may look at is her skin, and this is probably where I should go back to my colours and swatches over here in my layers. I'm going to turn off my garment fill. I'm going to come back to my colours and swatches, because what I'm wanting, I'm going to create another chip, but this time just a standalone one. And I'm going to come up to my swatches, see the little squares, and what I'm going to do is just see these little libraries of these little books on the shelf? That indicates a library. And in the library, previously we've gone to our colour books to find our Pantos, but what we want this time is skin tones. And if we're sort of not sure exactly what skin tone that we're thinking we want, it would make sense to click on the folder and that will transfer it to our main swatches and we can close it. So I might go, okay, well, I'm wanting something that's a little bit sort of greyish because that's where this illustration sort of is gone. So I'm thinking maybe I want this folder, and see how when I clicked on that, that went over there. And maybe I'll even click on this one. And then I'm going to close that. So I've got that to work with. And with this selected, I'm going to see what this colour looks like. That looks a little bit brown. I'm wanting something a little bit more grey. But maybe that will do. Here we go. We'll go with this. What did I do over here? I don't know. So on this, I am going to come up to my layers. And I've got this. And this time I'm going to create another one, another layer. So as you can see, if it's got different effects, I will go back to the one that says garment fill and add more to that. But on this layer here, I'm going to call this skin. So if I've gone over, which I might later on when I'm adding a bristle brush, I might go over. If I have the skin separate, it will make things a lot easier. So I'm going to come back over to here and get my my blob brush, and I'm going to try and colour her skin in a little. There we go. And once again, like I said before, because we've drawn the outline in a different layer, if I colour over it, it's higher in the stacking order, so it becomes the thing that's more visible. There we go. I'm sort of rushing now, but I'm not putting as much finesse into this as I would perhaps if I was just doing it by myself, but I'm just trying to get it done enough to show you. Okay, and then around here. And maybe I'll make this a little bit smaller, and that way I can get into this bit behind the bottom. There we go. And I could go on and continue that on. So hopefully you can see how we're doing this. And you could go on. I will come back later and I will show you once I've got this all ready to go to the next stage, and we'll come back for part 3.